Hi, I'm Diana Mumfort, the world's first transgender television journalist. Born male, became female. My guest is a truly great artist. I mean, truly great. Her name is Quinn Lemley. She has shows here on this station, MNN, and I saw her live in this amazing show called The Heat Is On, Rita Hayworth, starring Quinn Lemley. She plays Rita Hayworth remembering the course of her life. It is the most amazing show. I was born in New York and reared here for the most part. I've seen a lot of shows. This show is like among the top 3. It is amazing. You should see it when it comes to your area. It is great. Anyway, my guest is the hyper-talented Ms. Quinn Lemley.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. Oh, one more thing. She was born a woman. I just thought on my show you have to make this clear.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Yes, I was born a woman.
There you go. I was born a baby, actually, but whatever.
Well, that's right. I like that. That's good.
Yeah, well, whatever. But anyway, you do this amazing show where you play Rita Hayworth, and you do it so beautifully and so much shading. It sounds hyperbolic, but I loved this show. So much shading, so much talent. You sing the complete panoply of Rita songs.
Yes.
Amado Mio, of course, Put the Blame on Mame. Long ago and far away. Oh. I love that song. So beautiful. Yes. And it gave so much hope to the World War II people.
It did. It did. That was from CoverGirl.
Yes.
Yes, with Gene Kelly.
Yes. Who plays, he's a club owner in Brooklyn. And blah,
yes.
Blah, blah.
I love that you know all this. It's so
Rita
wonderful.
Hayworth was my mother's idol. How could I not? My mother in the 40s used to do an act very much like Rita Hayworth's. I'm second generation show business. But anyway, so now Quinn does this show in many venues. She does it in theaters. She does it in cabarets. Quinn was a Bistro Award winner and a MAC Award nominee.
2 times.
There
Two
you
times,
go.
yes.
There you go. She is, this show is great. I can't say,
Thank you.
I'm transgender, as you know. I went to see Some Like It Hot, the play, earlier this year, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and it was great. It's a great show. Go see it. I saw Quinn's show after that, different day. I got more out of Quinn's show, believe it or not, than I got out of Some Like It Hot.
I'm so honored. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you do a lot of stuff. So tell us about your background. Where were you born?
I was born in Hammond, Indiana, near where Michael Jackson was born, and Cole Porter.
Is it in the water?
No. So I was in.
I think Halston was also from.
Halston was from Indiana too.
I dropped my microphone.
No, those were my glasses. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
You're good.
Okay, it's a talking.
No,
so
maybe it's Halston. He's coming to us and he's saying we need to be wearing Halston.
There you go. Or it's Bill Blass saying, "Don't you dare wear Halston."
Right.
Right. They're all from Indiana, I believe.
Yes.
Boy, that's some.
It's the water, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
And wasn't Carol Lombard from Indiana? She was.
I think she was.
Okay. Anyway, so tell us. You were born in Indiana.
Yes, I was born in Indiana. I grew up in Columbus, Indiana, which is near Bloomington, southwest of Indianapolis. And when I was 8, I got to live in Paris. My mom went to La Varenne and Cordon Bleu, so I went with her. And then when I was 16, I got to live in Bordeaux, France.
Wonderful.
And my mom got an enology scholarship, so I went to a French school and I studied opera at the conservatory there.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I'm a Francophile, and then I came back and I went to Interlochen Arts Academy in Michigan, and then came to NYU and studied film and acting and singing and everything here. And so here I am.
There you are. And what other shows do you do in addition to the Rita Hayworth show?
Well, as a performer, I have a jazz quintet that I play with all over. I play in Athens, Greece, at the half note, and I've played all kinds of clubs and the Algonquin and back when it was the Algonquin, and BB King's and all over. And I have another show called Burlesque to Broadway, which is a 9-piece band and 4 showgirls and myself, and it's about the women that went from burlesque to Broadway and beyond, women that shape-shifted cultures like you do, by reinventing themselves and creating themselves. And I'm so into female empowerment, and my show has a message. My grandmother and I, she was my best friend. I'd go across the street every day.
My grandmother was my best friend.
Really? Yeah. We have so much in common. It's just like crazy. But I would spend every day with her after school, and we would watch all the old movies, and she had those, they were like Super 8-track tapes or something. My uncle worked for RCA. And so she'd play like Sinatra, and she'd play big band music, and we read all the biographies. And so this is my story with her, with the lens of the great women like Mae West and Sally Rand and Cher and Bette Midler and Ruth Etting, all of these people that really
10 cents a dance.
Yes, I sing 10 cents a dance.
I love that song.
I'll send you the CD. You'll love it.
I love that song.
You'll love it. It's that
Tough Guys Who Tear Your Gown.
Oh, I know.
Loudly the saxophone.
Yes. Ruth Etting, and then
Why
Doris
are we
Day.
the only 2 people in New York who know the lyrics to this?
No, people know it. It's such a heartbreaking
It is.
story. And June Havoc, I always think of
Gypsy
her.
Rose Lee's
Gypsy
sister,
Rose.
yes.
It's her story,
Baby
and then
June, yeah.
Baby June.
Joan Crawford was also a taxi dancer.
I know. It's hard to believe when you think of how she morphed. I just went to I was at a lecture today at a luncheon, and Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, I can't remember who the third was, but they were the only female stars that transitioned from the talkies through the 1950s into the 60s.
Yeah.
And they had to keep reinventing themselves.
And they did a beautiful job at it.
Yes, they
Well,
did.
you certainly are a shapeshifter in the best possible way.
Oh, thank you.
You play all sorts of things, don't you?
I do. I mean, not just on stage, but off stage. I'm also a director and producer. My husband, Paul Horton, and I, Paul was my manager and husband and best friend. And he said to me, Quinn, I want to produce a David Bowie show, and I want you to direct it. And I'm like, who am I to direct this? I'm a little girl from Indiana, and I'm a singer in feathers and sequins and fans. And he's like, no, you'd be perfect for David Bowie. So I directed this show, and I have 3 different Bowies. And David Bowie believed that we have many lives that we live in this lifetime. And so I created these 3 different mini concerts with the iconic Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, and then the Thin White Duke. And I don't ask them, other than Ziggy, to dress up like those characters. I just want them to embody the music and embody the moves and embody his spirit. And it's funny because I have 3 totally different artists, like he was so many different artists, and the audience goes, you mean there were 3 different people up there?
Well, that's what they did with the Cher show on Broadway.
Yes.
Cher at different ages.
Yes. Because you're different people at different ages. And then my biggest show with Paul was the Ultimate Queen Celebration, and we have toured with that it's a tribute show to Queen. And we had we were touring with Mark Martel, who was the voice of Rami Malek when it wasn't Freddie Mercury. And now I have 2 new artists in it, and I'm reviving it now that Paul's gone. And so I have an artist, Yvonne Pedneau, and I have Mig Ayesa, and they're both phenomenal singers, and they're both endorsed by Queen, and they are just phenomenal. And I have some of the best musicians in the
How
world.
would we find out about these shows?
Well, I mean, we're touring. We'll be at the Egg in Albany, May 11th, and we'll be doing a tour starting in February. And so we'll be in performing arts centers and casinos all across the country. So
Can we
we'll be
talk
coming
about
to you.
Paul for a second?
Yes.
What happened to your husband, Paul?
Paul Horton, he's my love of my life, and unfortunately, in March 4th, Paul got COVID, and the COVID created sepsis, and he passed in 48 hours. He was only 53. And so I'm just trying to rebuild my life with positivity and gratitude that we had 20 years together, and I was his muse, and he was my frame and my spotlight.
You're going to think this is, I think he's here now.
I think so too. Goosebumps don't
Yeah.
lie.
And I'm a little bit psychic, so
You are.
he is right here.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
So, but he would want you to carry on and to have the great career.
And to
that
be
you
on
have.
your show, and to be on your show and
Look,
talk.
we all
and
have tough stuff in life. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're
I
on
just
my
can't,
show.
I
Ah.
can't believe
Nowhere
how
to go from here but up. Trust me on this.
No, but just to get to know you, I mean, we've only had a few moments together in conversation, and so much synergy. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, well.
And we're both producers here at M&N.
Yes, we are.
M&N.
Yes, we are. And Quinn is so multi-talented. Again, to return to this show,
Thank you.
it was such an amazing experience because she takes you through the whole gamut of everyone's emotions, but certainly Rita's. From desperate little dancer whose father took her virginity, which is what Rita's father did, to world-famous film star riding high, married to Orson Welles and Ali Khan.
She was the first princess even before Grace Kelly.
How do you like that?
I mean, she was married to Ali Khan, and he was part of this Muslim sect, and so he was actually his father, the Aga Khan. His weight was measured in gold,
yes.
right? He was very large, and Rita loved him, and he loved Rita.
And then at the end, Rita with Alzheimer's.
It was tragic because she drank a lot in her life, but
Well, her mother was an alcoholic.
yes, Volga Hayworth. Well, when you think of the
was
dynamics,
a former Ziegfeld girl, Volga.
Thank you very much. People do not know this. Rita Hayworth took her mother's maiden name. She was Margarita Cancino, and then she became Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was Hayworth was the mother's maiden name. But the mother was a Ziegfeld girl, and to be a Ziegfeld girl, and then she married Eduardo Cancino, who was so abusive, and he was like this psycho macho rooster.
Spanish man.
Well, he was
I'm half Spanish, so I know.
so she can say, but it was just tragic because he overshadowed her, and here was this great beauty that you see in Rita Hayworth's bone structure, who just drank herself and turned her head and never even paid attention to what was going on, because it was the Depression and Prohibition, and Rita she couldn't do anything because that's how they made money.
That's how they survived. And his brother, rather, who was named, I think, Paco Cancino, had a dancing school here in New York.
At Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
Yes.
I told you, I'm a Rita scholar.
You are. I mean, I've met my match.
But anyway, yeah, and in your show you point out that the mother knew what was going on between Rita and her father,
But she didn't take her side.
what could she do?
She couldn't.
Where would she go?
She was in the research. I was not there, so I can't say. But I've read every biography, and I've gone to the library. I've read every article, every microfiche, everything. And they said that the mother would finally did go on tour with them when she was in her teens, and the father and sleep in Rita's bed. So she was trying to protect her in whatever way she could, but back then people didn't talk about nobody talked about things like this.
And he probably thought, listen, I own the women in my family.
Exactly. It was all about him.
Right. And I am keeping us all alive with my dancing. You, Rita, have to do everything you can to make me happy. And you, Volga, shut up and get drunk.
Right.
Pass out. Don't bother us.
Yes.
Rita, dear, sit on my lap.
But what's interesting, we were talking about this early, what was so tragic was that Rita Hayworth was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but not until she got it like at 40, in her late 40s, after the marriage to Ali Khan. And that's when the erratic behavior had started.
And I posited the theory that having electrolysis her hairline grew down near her eyebrows
Like here.
and very low. And twice a week for an hour each time.
I think for several years.
Yes,
Was it 2
2
or 3?
years,
Was it
2
2 or
years.
3 years? 2?
Well, they said 2 in publicity. Who knows how long?
You
it was.
never know.
And they would zap her brain right here in the front,
Mm-hmm.
which deals with cognizance, zap it with electricity.
It's electric shock,
Yes.
basically.
And she's getting this in her forehead all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
which is why, if you look in Gilda, it's not a wig because she's shaking her head, but that hairline where she says, but I shouldn't make any mistakes, right? It looks like a wig, but it's not.
I'm going to have to go back and look at that. No, her hair
When
was just
Balin is
beautiful.
saying, watch it, Gilda.
Yes, yes. But the other thing that is interesting, I mean, it was so tragic because they just thought she was drinking. That terrible picture
There was
on Life.
oh,
That
I-
was Life magazine.
I saw that.
She was getting off at Heathrow, and but she was so angst. They gave her all these pills and to try
She
to.
looked like a derelict, like a
Yes.
street person.
Yes. There's this wonderful, my publicist, Gary Springer, sent me a
Is
book.
he related to John Springer?
Yes, it's his son.
How
He was my
wonderful.
first publicist ever, and we got reconnected.
Is he the man I saw with you that night?
Yes! Yes.
Great.
So, but anyway, he gave me a book called Big Red by Jerome Charlin, and it's a new historical fiction about Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles, but it's historical fiction. And he was there that night. You were
Yes,
there
I
with his
remember.
wife and Leonore, and it was just wonder. I couldn't put the book down, and I can't help but think that Alzheimer's, when she was with the father, she would just kind of blank out in the dressing room between and just
Disassociation.
Disassociation.
Marilyn Monroe, because she was molested, it can lead to schizophrenia.
oh,
Split
is that
personality,
what's
yes.
happening? But later in life with the Alzheimer's, that's a manifestation of that.
But Yasmin, her daughter of Ali Khan and Rita, because Rita fought so hard to get her a trust fund, as you remember.
Yes, thank you so much, because I always have to say that because people just think because she's a princess. Rita Hayworth fought. She was very. She's Latina. She fought to get Yasmin the equal trust as the
Yes.
two brothers.
And Yasmin later took care of her and hired nurses and
Created the Alzheimer's Foundation.
she
And
did.
think of all the people. I mean, even before Ronald Reagan or a lot of other celebrities, nobody knew about Alzheimer's, and it's the Rita Hayworth Alzheimer's Foundation that has gotten awareness and helped people. And that's because Rita fought for her daughter, and her daughter is so marvelous.
Yes, indeed. And at one point, they took the kids away when she was married to Dick Haymes.
Mr. Evil.
Yes. And well, he belted her in a nightclub, right in the
coconut,
face.
in the Coconut Grove, right
Nice
in the
guy.
eye.
And he was from Argentina, and they were going to deport him. It's a long
Right,
story.
and I mean, it's the whole thing. He used Rita Hayworth to stay in the country, and then she had to keep working to pay off. He was a gambler, and
Oh, great.
she almost lost.
This
her
goes
children.
from bad to worse,
Yes, but our show is not. I do. Carter Inskeep, who wrote wrote and directed it, he's brilliant. He did Always Patsy Cline. It is so smart. We use a lot of Rita's actual quotes, and then it's woven in this amazing story. So Rita's never the victim. She's discovering her amazing, astonishing life and taking responsibility for the choices that she made in her life, and owning the Margarita Carmen Dolores Cancino part of the self.
And it's a very upbeat show. You leave happy.
Yeah, you don't. It's not a sad.
No.
And the music, it's accompanied by the Great American Songbook, so you can't. There are beautiful ballads, and it's sexy, and it's fun and it's funny, and I love it because he really put back in Rita's saltiness. They said that she had a mouth like a sailor. She never had an education. She was always with the stagehands, and she felt most comfortable with
Sure.
the
She
people at the
taught,
studio.
Yeah, and nightclubs are not finishing schools.
No.
My mother started working in nightclubs at 15. My grandparents and mother escaped the Spanish Civil War. My grandfather was a politician there, lefty politician, so they had to come here. My mother started working in nightclubs at 15. My father, when they would have an argument, said in his southern accent, "And I never heard a woman talk like that until I met you."
That's what Glenn Ford was like that with her with Rita. He said she had a mouth like a sailor.
Yeah.
But then she said, "How many sailor's mouse are you familiar with?
Yeah.
Touche, Rita.
She may not have gone to school, but she was smart.
She was very smart and very loyal to the people that she was loyal with at the time, especially her two daughters, Rebecca and Yasmin.
And she never badmouthed Orson Welles. All she said was, "I couldn't take all that genius."
That but she did say that if he, can I swear on this show? She did say
Fuck
that
yeah, babe.
if he would have stayed with her, she would have watched his fucking diet.
There you go.
But
and he cut her hair off and bleached it platinum.
he
the crazy
ruined
man.
her brand. I mean, that was her hair was her brand. Lady from Shanghai, and I learned this from Big Red, from Jerome's book. I didn't know that Lady from Shanghai was released. Harry Cohn was
like
such
3
a
years
son of a
after,
bitch.
yeah.
Yes, as a B flick, because they had.
God.
Yes, it was a limited release as a B flick in limited houses, because she played a murderess who was so cold.
A gold digging murderess. No
Yes,
less, yes.
and with no emotion and no red hair, and that fire and that the brand that was Rita Hayworth was. It's a brilliant film, but that's Orson Welles' brilliance in that film, and her beauty.
And she looks beautiful. It's just not Rita.
Right.
It's like a cross between Eva Peron and Betty Grable. It's like not Rita.
Yes, and the other thing was that when he originally shot it, there wasn't one close up of Rita Hayworth.
That is insane.
I know, and so then they had to recreate Errol Flynn's yacht on the sound set, and that's why they put in "Please Don't Kiss Me," which I sing, and I think it's Doris Richards and Alan Roberts. I think it's one of the most beautiful songs ever.
I almost fainted when you told me in your show, told us, Affair in Trinidad, her follow-up film after she divorced Ali Khan, grossed more than Gilda.
I know.
I can't believe that.
I know, and it's so. I mean, other than the hit
It's
songs,
okay.
Chicka Chick Boom, Chick Boom. I mean,
I do what I want.
Yes.
Yes.
well, I've been kissed before is from that too.
One would imagine she had been. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Starting with Daddy Dearest. But anyway.
Yes.
But
they can come and see me in all my shows. I'm going to London in February.
Well, now, can you tell us how they can contact you and find your schedule?
Yes, they can go to quinnlemley.com. I have a little video.
Once was a shooting up in the Klondike when they got Dan. Folks were putting the blame on the lady known as Lou. I get too hungry for dinner at 8. I like the theater, but never go late. Amado mio, love me forever, and let forever begin tonight. Put the blame on me.
My mother used to do the Amado Mio number.
I bet she did it beautifully with her Spanish accent.
Well, she actually had sort of an English accent because actors in those days had to take diction
Oh,
lessons.
right. I took elocution lessons.
Didn't we all? Didn't
we all?
Pitch those consonants.
Yes.
Are you like a sister I didn't know I
I
had?
know.
What is this?
We're sisters from other mothers.
Yes. Anyway, you have to see Quinn's show.
The next show is going to, I have 2 more shows in New York. God bless you.
Thank you. I smoke cigarettes. How can they,
They can go to quinnlemley.com. I'll be at Don't Tell Mamas on Monday.
well, yes, but this will air after that.
Okay. Well, I'll be in London in February, and I'm to start touring. I start in North Carolina, and I'm going to be going all across performing arts centers in North America.
And,
And I'll be in Cape May for a week in July if they want to come see me on the beach.
right. And Quinn is spelled Quinn, and Lemley, Lemley.
Thank you. You're such a good host.
You're a great guest, and I hope you'll come back.
I would love it.
And this has been the Diana Mumfort Show. My guest has been a truly brilliant talent. And this is for real. I mean, she really is. You just saw the video. Quinn Lemley. who does a magnificent job as Rita Hayworth. And just between you and me, she's a lot more beautiful, has a better figure, and has more talent than Rita. God forgive me, Rita. I love you, Rita, but anyway, come to think of it, my mother was prettier than Rita, too. But anyway, we won't go there. So anyhow, and her father didn't play games with him. Anyhow, so anyway, you have to see Quinn Lemley. She's great. See her in whatever she's in. She's a real talent, a real talent. She's great. That's all I can say. My guest, well, I told you who my guest is. Anyway, this has been the Diana Montfort Show. I'm Diana Montfort. Even if no one else loves you, I love you. So there. I have no taste. No, I think you're great. No, I have great taste in guests. But no, I think you're great. I love you. Even if no one else loves you, I love you. And you know I was kidding when I said I have no taste. I love you a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye.